The website that rocks, KMOD.com. Past shows are available on iTunes. Search under Bmms. Listen with your cell phone. Get the iHeartRadio app. Available from the App Store of your cell phone provider. More on that at iHeartRadio.com. And we're on Facebook. Facebook.com/BMMS69. That's where you can hang out with us each and every day. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Corbin.
Good morning, Gimpy.
Well, good morning.
Tickets for you to attend the Seether concert. We don't want to say see Seether.
CC.
Got a pair of tickets to see Seether next Thursday, the 29th at the Hard Rock Live inside the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Get your tickets at hardrockcasinotulsa.com. We got best and worst of the weekend. And I got a doozy.
Really? I can't wait.
We've got our listeners are awesome. Not a doozy. For me, it isn't, hey, my queso was cold. Just saying.
The worst.
I'm just saying. Three of us have been playing it pretty middle of the road lately. We got our listeners are awesome. So we'll talk to one of our listeners. They'll share part of their lives with us. We actually were going to talk to this guy last week, and our billion-dollar company had a technical problem. Jeff Hensley will join us. You got a question about family law, divorce, custody, guardianship? He's going to answer those questions.
Hell yeah!
Stop listening to your friends when it comes to your divorce or your custody. They don't know. Even if it's happened to them, they've only gone through their situation. Yours is unique, and Jeff will be in the studio to answer your question. Get your question to us ahead of time. The email address, show@kmod.com, or you can text BMMS and whatever that is to 82945. And we're qualifying people for CMall 2025 from Yingling Flight. And Bobby Daniels of Fort Gibson heard the cue. So now Bobby is in the running. Could win tickets to every concert KMOD is a part of, and we are sunsetting on the qualifying as we are going to give that away next week. Make sure you're listening for that cue every hour with us. I don't know if you saw the news, but these guys escaped from prison in New Orleans. 10 inmates escaped from New Orleans. And it is wild. They cut a hole into the wall, and they escaped out of that.
They removed the toilet, I believe, is what it was.
Toilet sink combo.
Yeah, your toilet sink water fountain combo. But yeah, and then just hightailed it right on out. And they left notes, right?
They wrote on the wall, expletive to the security group that watches the prison, too easy, LOL. I'm innocent.
Oh, my.
Things like that, right? They caught one guy right away. They've caught a second guy. There are still, I think, 7 or 8 that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. And
so I kind of thought it'd be fun. Well, let me go. I'll give you this.
Okay.
I'll give you this context first. Over 90% of escapees in modern day get caught.
Okay.
Think about that. The chances of you escaping and getting away with it, minimal.
Yeah.
Even the people that get away with it, quote unquote, are discovered eventually.
Right. It just may be years down the road or whatever. But eventually, yeah, you get caught up.
Sometimes 10, sometimes 50. The technology advances all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One guy had been gone for like 50 years, and they found him via fingerprints.
Damn.
Right? And he's a different man, whole new life, all those things, right? Of course, if you've ever seen the movie Alcatraz, you've seen where the Frank Merritt's, I think his name is, he escapes almost the same way from Alcatraz. Never to be seen again. No one's ever heard of him. A lot of people think he died trying to swim to shore.
Okay.
Right? Leonard Rain Moses. He escaped in 1971 while attending a funeral. He lived under a new identity for 50 years. He was caught via fingerprints.
Wow.
And so these guys are gone. They had like facial recognition software, like a camera, and caught one cat in the French Quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, picked him up. He got arrested, right?
So trying to go see some boobs?
I mean, there's more in the French Quarter than just that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's that in the French Quarter, to be honest.
I don't know, never been.
Well, there's when I was 13,
Yeah.
a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, there was like sex stores, but it's mostly bars and restaurants, music
Right.
venues.
That's where most of the Mardi Gras takes place, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I said boobs.
Yeah.
But Mardi Gras is over, so surely they're not just willy-nilly showing their boobs.
It's
anymore.
always,
Can you blame the guy, though? He's been in prison for God knows how long. I can't say there's a blame, and the first thing I want to see are some boobs.
Yeah, but why would you go to one of the more secure areas of the city?
Right.
Which, to my point, you're going to escape prison. What are you going to do?
Okay.
Right? You're going to escape prison. What's your plan? Because let's eliminate a couple of things. You can't go see your family.
No, that's going to be the first place they look for you.
It's the meet. They're going to post up outside your Bmms house
That's right.
waiting for you. Or they're going to monitor their phones. So you can't go see family. So what are you going to do, Lindsay?
And they're probably going to go to the border as well. So that's out.
Well, there's already a presence at the border, but
Right.
yeah.
But they're going to be warned. You know what
Sure.
I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah.
They'll be looking for you.
Exactly.
Bolo.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
Probably just head for the woods or, yeah, like some wooded area that no one is around. Maybe a beachy area somewhere if that's
Well, this is New
An
Orleans,
option.
right? I mean, I'm sure there's beachy areas down
Yeah.
there, right? I don't know. I've never been, but I imagine from what I hear and gather, it's mostly swamp.
I mean, there is a coastline, but it is also populous.
Right.
The beach typically has people.
yeah.
I don't
But-
want to be seen, so I'm going to go to the most place where the most people are.
And if you're going to go to Corpus Christi or you're going to go to Mobile or you're going to go to Gulf Shores,
Yeah. I guess, look for the most secluded area. And hopefully you would have a buddy on the outside that knows your plan. Maybe they can meet up with you, get you the change of clothes that you need, some money, maybe some sort of disguise. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Gimpy, what are you doing?
Well, I think first of all, I need new clothes. All right, let's get out of these oranges. These are the
Yeah.
orange pants, orange jumpsuit, whichever oranges that they're in. So I think I need to go to a small town. Okay. I say small town because not a lot of people, right? And I'm sure there's small towns around that area. All right, well, let's see if I can't find a house where they're drying clothes out. You know, they don't have the washer and dryer,
Like out in
maybe
the
not the
yard?
dryer. Yeah, they got them out there on the clothesline.
Yeah.
And some people like to do that anyway, just because they like it. Me, I'm not a big fan of stiff pants, but whatever. That's just me. Well, when you sun dry your clothes, they always seem stiffer than if you put them in the dryer.
Just
But-
excited to get dry.
right. So that's my first plan. Let's get the hell out of here, find a small town, try to get out of these clothes. And if I have to, I'd rather not. But if I had to, I would probably accost a homeless person and steal their clothes off of them. Right? Just because I need quick change. Quick change. Let's get out of these oranges. All right. So now I've changed my clothes. And now I need to get the hell out of Louisiana. Well, how do you do that? Steal a car. Steal a car and head probably north.
That's a good choice.
Well, I
Because
say-
south would be the Gulf of Mexico.
Exactly. Exactly. You're all just kind of right there. If you go east or west, I feel like they're going to be posted up on the east and west and the southern parts. Try to get out. I don't know. Maybe you can find a boat, and take the Gulf and get the hell out of there. That's another thought. But my thought is let's just get the hell out of town as quick as possible. Steal a car and go somewhere. And then I guess just try to, gather everything after I get out of town. Gather my wits. All right, what's my next plan of action after that?
Yeah. I think it's got to be a combination of both. I don't love the small town thing because it's not Andy Griffith time. So small towns are just as connected as
Right.
almost any town. And sometimes have some technology. So I don't love that, but it's not a bad choice. I think you've got two choices. If you can move fast and get to the border, or because once you can get across one border, I think the the concentration of searching depletes.
Right.
So, but if you can't move fast to the border, like within hours, then I think you've got to hold up
Okay.
and hold up 14, 21 days.
You got to change your appearance as well. Like this text that come in, Gimpy, would you shave your beard? Well, let's just start off by, if it's me, I'm effed anyway. Beard or no
Right,
beard.
you can't cover up the hand.
Right.
Maybe I can walk around with it tucked into my shirt. You wish it to me, you wish the one-armed man. But yeah, I think changing your appearance is a very big part that we're overlooking here.
No,
Think of like the outsiders.
I feel like that's a given.
Yeah, but not everybody do it. I don't know if these guys have done it or not, but it seems like, let's just get the hell out of here quick as possible. But you have to, shave your head, dye your hair, shave if you have a beard and mustache or whatever.
I think you've got to, if you're going to wait it out, you've got to be willing to not eat very much. I mean, you got to lay super low and let the search party kind of wane.
Yeah.
Because they'll be pretty intense for 14. I'm not saying they'll give up. Law enforcement isn't going to give up looking. But they are going to start reassigning some resources. You got to have some way to cover your temperature. So if you're sleeping in the woods, you got to start covering that so you aren't easily detected.
Right. Cover yourself with mud.
Something. You got to be willing to crawl through a sewer of S
Yeah.
in the beginning. And then once, let's just assume you can get past that hump, whether it's to the border or hiding out, then you got to be willing to go, I think, north, Montana, Idaho, maybe even Alaska. I think crossing the border is a pipe dream. I don't think that's a reality anymore.
Right.
Unless you're willing to go across the desert
Right.
or you're willing to commandeer a boat and try to navigate the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
Right.
And get to Belize or Cuba or wherever.
Even if you're trying to make it to Alaska, right, you still got to go through Derp, Canada, so I'm sure they'll have a little APB out for you. Yeah, APB. Yeah, that's right.
All police bulletin. You could, there's probably a ferry that you could take.
True.
But then you're in a major, highly secure area. Yeah.
That wouldn't be a good idea.
You'd have to have somebody give you a ride in a boat.
Yeah.
But going to get hired on a fishing crew, not a bad way to hide out.
No, I guess not.
Because that's the other problem. You need cash.
Yeah.
You need money. So, crazy. All right, so here's the question. When are they catching them, Lindsay?
These guys
Yeah.
now?
You got to pick a date.
Ooh.
We're going to keep track.
Okay. Today's the 19th. I'm going to say all. Are we saying all of them that's left?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
By the.
If you say tomorrow and they catch the majority of them today, that counts.
Okay. I'm going to say by the 27th.
27th, so you think 8 days?
Yeah.
8 days from today.
Yeah.
Okay. Gimpy, what do you think? When do you think they're going to catch them?
They've already got two of them, you
I
say?
think two, yeah.
Two of them, so we're just going to assume that there's 8 of them left. And when did they escape? Saturday or Friday? When did they escape prison?
Friday night, I
It
think.
was Friday night, maybe early Saturday morning.
On Friday, 10 inmates, 4 alleged killers.
Okay.
Dude, one of the families that this guy killed their dad, husband, whoever, they're in hiding because they're worried he's going to come to them.
Right. I am going to say that they'll have them by the end of the week.
End of the week Friday, end of the week Sunday.
End of the week Friday. Yeah. Part of me saying by Wednesday, the 21st, they'll have them, but I'm going to give them a little bit of extra time.
So give me a date.
23rd.
Gimpy's taking the 23rd. That's what I was going to go with. I think they'll have them by the weekend.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, because they, the police stuff, they got like barbecues and stuff to go to.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to go.
Graduation season.
Yeah. I think 28's too far. I think they'll have them. And I think for you to get the win here, they got to have the majority of them. So of the 8 left, they got to have at least 6.
I'm down for that.
Because I think unless they're running in packs, They're running together. So Gibby's going the 23rd. I'm going to go ahead and say the 25th.
Okay. Give them to that Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. A lot of parties to go to.
Yeah.
A lot of ways to sneak food.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll keep track and we'll see because on average they say 4 days
Okay, that seems about right.
is how fast they can track you down. Mm-hmm. And there's one of you trying to get away, or let's just say 8 in this scenario. There's hundreds of people looking for you that are trained to look for you.
Yeah.
Guess what they don't do? They don't just walk the streets.
No.
They hide in plain clothes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have the guys that are in full military fatigues out there. But that's more of a disruption. Right. That's more of like they're doing checks and stuff. That's only to make sure, like to let everybody know they're looking.
Right. We have a presence.
They know if they're on the corner of 1st and Main, they got guys in plain clothes at 2nd and Main.
Right.
Just watching. Not to mention cameras and drones.
Yeah.
Right.
And someone's watching all the security footage. They showed a video of them leaving the prison and then them crossing a highway. Mm-hmm. You think they're not following all the cameras?
Oh, yeah.
You think the public isn't going to help?
Nah.
This is where Gimpy's theory of snitches get stitches, I don't think holds. I don't think it holds water.
Right.
Say that until you turn them in, and next thing you know, you're shanked coming out of the Walmart.
You might get shanked for your car, or your red, white, and boom tank top you're going to wear this coming weekend. All right, we got to take a break. We got best and worst of the weekend. We got tickets to see there. We're going to give away. We'll be back.
You're listening
Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show. Toll free 833-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. News quickies are stories you may have missed in the news. We cover them here and put a link on our Facebook page if you want more. Facebook.com/BMMS69.
It's time for News Quickies, world news, local news, and news that just makes you say, what the Now here's Corbin, Gimpy, and Lindsay with what's going on. News Quickies from the Big Man Morning Show in 97.5 KMOD.
Woman refuses to pay tab at steakhouse, punches officer in the testicles. This happened on Tuesday, May 6th, where 32-year-old Rachel King was at the Mark's Prime Steakhouse, and they called on her. They called police, and when the officers entered the restaurant, she was sitting at the bar, and she appeared to be pretty intoxicated. A manager then informed the officer that Rachel was refusing to pay her tab, which totaled $99.53. So the officer then decided to escort her out of the steakhouse and to their little patio area. She sat down in a chair, and according to the report, there was a bystander there that was offering to help her pay for her tab. But he wanted her to send money through Venmo first. So the report stated that she gave the officer permission to assist with sending the money to the witness. While the officer was attempting to send the money, she became agitated, and she told the officer to just leave me alone. Well, she then snatched her phone from the cop before she raised her right fist as far back as she could and then punched him right in the testes, which caused the officer to feel extreme pain.
Sure.
You don't say.
Yeah. She was arrested moments later, booked into jail 2 days later, was released from the facility after posting a $17,000 bond. She's being charged with battery on a law enforcement officer and swindling or defrauding an innkeeper of less than $300, and she's due in court on June 10th.
Yeah. I would pay for, like, if I saw something like that going down, I'd be like, I'll pay her tab.
Right.
Like, or his tab or whatever. It's just, what are we talking? $100?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want my place having this tarnish happening.
Right.
Right. So as the business owner, you're saying just go ahead and...
Even a bystander.
Oh, okay.
It depends on what was happening. Like, should she be arrested for public intoxication? Probably.
Right. But definitely for punching the cop in the balls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was she on the ground?
No, she was sitting in a chair
So she was
on a patio.
eye level.
Yeah.
She's just
Okay.
enjoying. Come on, Sunday fun day.
Right.
What was the restaurant?
Mark's Prime Steakhouse
Okay.
She
in
just
Ocala,
wanted,
Florida.
yeah, she wanted to have a
Ocala.
nice...
Ocala. Yeah. Mark's Prime?
That's what she
Yeah,
said.
Mark's.
Prime Steakhouse.
I just wanted to see what their drinks were.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Because,
something fruity.
yeah, probably, right?
You know, yeah.
Yeah, menu, let's see. Entree, wines and cocktails. Here we go.
All right.
Red wines, yeah, of course. White wines, absolutely. Specialty cocktail list, okay. How about a prime fusion martini?
That sounds good.
Vodka
that.
infused with fresh seasonal fruit. How about a blackberry sidecar?
I don't
Ooh,
think she
what's
got
that?
that one.
I always say this spirit wrong. Cavassier,
Cavassier. Yeah, Cavassier. Yeah.
blended family triple sec, blackberry jam and lemon sour. Yeah. Dude, a hibiscus Cosmo? I'm here
sign
for
me
that.
up.
Anything with hibiscus is delicious.
Yeah.
A paper plane.
Sounds all right.
Basil Hayden, Aperol, Amaro Nonino, and lemon juice. Okay. Yeah, they have a lot of woo girl cocktails.
Yeah.
Pomegranate martini. Ew. Martini's already a specific flavor profile, but now we got to put sweat in it.
Right.
Pomegranate's so gross.
Oh, and
think?
orange
Yes.
vodka. Gross. Blech.
Old fashioned coffee and orange bourbon.
I'm okay with that.
Interesting. Good night, sweetheart. Paloma Mezcal. triple sec, Torino, orange bitters. I'm not a tequila guy or a mezcal guy, but that doesn't sound bad.
Not at all.
Yeah, a lot of woo girl here.
And then she punched him in the ding ding.
Now, if I was fight or flight, I could definitely probably punch somebody in the ding ding.
For sure.
Everything's fair in a street fight.
Absolutely. But these are officers you're dealing with. And,
Right.
You don't get that luxury.
Hey, if I'm going to jail,
Right.
if you think about it, you get to jail and they're like, "What are you in jail for?" And you're like, "Public intox." They're like, "Okay, well, give me your shirt."
Right.
But they're like, "What are you in jail for?" I punched an officer in the ding ding. Like, all right.
This guy don't mess around. Now
Yeah.
Give me your shirt.
Yeah.
Teens arrested after condom robbery. This comes out of Seattle, where a couple of teenage boys, 3 of them to be exact, they go into this local convenience store. One of the kids asks for 3 boxes of condoms. I guess they had plans. Anyway, so the kid gets the 3 boxes of condoms and then hauls ass out of there. All 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom. They're done. So the property owner, manager, whatever, chases them outside. He's trying to get his rubbers back, I guess. And that's when one of the other boys in the car pulls out a shotgun, points it out the window at the guy. And the guy's like, all right, I'm good. So now the police are involved. The police find the car, by the way, stolen car. And they're trying to stop this car. Well, the kids ended up ramming that police car. They did eventually stop them via pit maneuver. And when they got up to the car, they found the 3 teenage boys and 3 young girls, okay? They found the 3 boxes of condoms and the stolen shotgun. The kids, the boys, they're all facing first-degree robbery. One of the boys is looking at reckless driving and unlawful possession of a firearm. They say that these 3 girls that were in the car with them looked like they were in trouble. They believe that these girls were going to be trafficked, and one of the girls was even recently reported missing.
Yeah, you're not on the run getting pit maneuvered for just condoms.
No. There's a lot more going on.
Yes. You knew you were hiding some other things. For sure. Child survives 15-story fall.
Dang.
Whoa.
This happened in Maryland where a 2-year-old fell 15 stories from a balcony Thursday afternoon. The child landed in a landscaped area with mulch and bushes and just has a broken arm. Authorities are investigating how the fall happened.
Well, it's good that it only suffered from a broken arm.
No kidding.
As a 2-year-old baby, they're still in that kind of forming stage where they're kind of made out of rubber, right?
Palatable.
Yeah.
Rubber.
Yeah.
How long does it take to fall 15 stories, you think?
Ooh, I imagine less than a minute.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Less than a minute. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how fast you fall. Like a 2-year-old's not a 200-pound man.
Right. It's not heavy. I get it.
For about 4 seconds.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ow. Broken arm.
where's Bobby?
Yeah.
Oh, right. You're hitting the elevator. Come on. Down, 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 down.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
Some kid gets in. It's all
Oh, God. Oh, God. You're enjoying that baby down there.
Dun, 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 ping. Dun, 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 dun. Ping.
Hold the door.
Why is no one getting on the elevator? Longest elevator ride ever.
Oh,
real.
100%.
You just skip it and go straight down the stairs, man.
Dude, no way.
You don't think?
Nope. Your cardio cannot handle it.
I don't know. I think in a time of need, you might be able to. Mine personally can't handle it, especially the walk back up. But I feel with the stairs, here's my theory on that, right? You can jump over, like, you can jump flights of stairs if you really wanted to. Depends on who you are.
Sure.
But, you know, you can at least skip 3 or 4
Sure.
stairs and get
Sure.
down there faster.
So keep in mind, each flight is 2. So it's not 15,
Right?
it's 30. So let's just say you do half.
Yeah.
Let's just assume your knee joints
Yeah.
can handle Bo duking it over the edge
Yeah.
15 times.
Either
no
way, your baby's already hit the ground before you're even down there anyway. So I guess you're right. Maybe you should just take the elevator.
I don't
Take
know.
your time. Stop, get a snack. Why not?
Stop and get a snack. You've got adrenaline going through you, though,
Sure.
at this point, though, too.
Yeah.
And going down is a lot easier than running up those steps.
That's a true statement.
It's still incredibly tiring. People think going down is easy, and it isn't. It is easier, sure.
Yeah, I just feel like you're not thinking about it, though.
Yeah.
You've
You're
got
just
Doesn't
doing it.
matter.
You're just doing
Your
it.
one
thinking
goal.
isn't the same as your heart.
Sure. But I think adrenaline takes over at that moment, and you can get it done.
I think that, I agree that you're going to power through it, right? You're focused on one thing. But I'm sure the people on 9/11 were too.
Oh, damn.
So you can want it all you want. This says it'll take about 3 minutes for an average adult to go down the stairs, walking, running, maybe a minute and a half.
Right.
That's still a long time.
Yeah.
Again, your baby's already hit the ground.
Go
Yeah.
sprint for a minute and a half. Tell me how that feels.
Right.
I will not.
All these stories are on our Facebook page at facebook.com/BMMS69.
Tulsa's Morning Show continues next.
Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show. Toll free 833-460-KMOD. Can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. See what Lindsay has for Balls to the Wall Sports.
The NBA Conference Finals are set. The Oklahoma City Thunder crushed the Denver Nuggets 125-93 in Game 7 of their Western Conference semifinal series. I knew they wanted that win at home. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored a game-high 35 points to help the Thunder advance to the conference finals for their first time since 2016. Their nerves were showing a bit in the first quarter, but the Thunder found their way back to the dominant, high-pressure defensive team that won 68 games, the sixth most regular season wins in NBA history. The top-seeded Thunder will now face the Minnesota Timberwolves on Tuesday to begin their battle for a spot in the NBA Finals. In the East, the New York Knicks host the Indiana Pacers to tip off the conference finals on Wednesday, and there will be a seventh different NBA champion in the last 7 years, which is the longest stretch in league history.
Some people were saying online that the Thunder Nuggets game were the NBA Finals.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no.
It was exciting.
It was, but that
yeah.
doesn't mean it's that they were the two best teams.
No, one of them is.
Yeah.
Still number one.
Right. And 100%. The Eastern Conference final in the Stanley Cup playoffs is also set. The Panthers took down the Maple Leafs 6-1 in Game 7 from Toronto. Brad Marchand had a goal and 2 assists and is now a career 5-0 in Game 7s against Toronto. Florida advances to battle the Hurricanes in Raleigh on Tuesday. And meanwhile, the puck drops in Dallas for the Western Conference Final on Wednesday. The Stars take aim at Connor McDavid and the Oilers in Game 1. Major League Baseball is suspending the Phillies' closer for performance-enhancing drugs. The league announced on Sunday that Jose Alvarado has been banned for 80 games. He's also ineligible to pitch in the postseason. President of Baseball Operations, Dave Dombrowski, said Alvarado used a testosterone drug in the offseason to help with weight loss, and he didn't knowingly take it for performance enhancement.
I'm glad they throw in that postseason thing. Like, because if you, your suspension is there in the regular season, but you finish it, I think it makes sense to not have you shouldn't be allowed to play in the postseason either.
Yeah. And why don't these doctors tell these guys in the first place?
They know.
Okay.
They know.
So he knew that what he was doing was wrong.
I don't know if he deliberately was told and he went, like some menacing thing, but I think it's possible he went, just whatever I got to do to lose weight. Plausible deniability.
And is testosterone for weight loss?
Can be.
I mean, okay.
Can be. But I think typically these guys that are getting tested, from what I know on the fighting side, is that they have a guy that takes care of all that for them.
Yeah.
Now, on sport, in the NFL and Major League Baseball, I don't know. But they have a nutrition supplement person, and that person provides them with everything. And they basically pay them to not be knowledgeable. And I think in the fighting world, I don't know if they still do, but they used to have to submit a form of everything they take and why they take it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true in baseball and in football and
You would
basketball and
think
stuff.
that they would do the same type of thing.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm actually not a big fan of supplement banning like this. I just want to see entertaining sports.
Right.
Sure.
Don't sit here and trying to sell me it's a purist thing. Like nobody's trying to find a way to cheat. Nobody's trying to find a way to settle down.
Yeah.
It's always been that way. Everybody's trying to find a break. And if it creates an exciting game, so be it.
So, steroids?
I'm just being honest. Don't care. Not in that.
Right.
Not in baseball, not in football, not in basketball.
Okay.
And barely not in fighting.
Why though? Like, I mean, if it's an illegal drug for them,
Because in fighting, it's two people. It's me against you.
yeah,
In the other sports, it's a team sport.
yeah,
You are a factor, but you're not the factor.
right,
Not everybody's Jordan. And just because you take steroids doesn't mean you'll be Jordan.
yeah,
Look
that
at
is
Mark
true.
McGuire, though. He got roided out and was knocking him out.
For sure, right? But they still
Yeah.
didn't win every game.
No. You got to dial it back a little bit.
It was
Make it
entertaining,
true to
and
it.
that's what I'm here for.
Somebody check, what is it, Shohei Ohtani? Doesn't he hit a bunch of home runs?
He does.
Yeah.
And in the fighting world, there's plenty of guys that are suspicious of taking steroids. Sometimes that's just said when you win a lot. And again, if it's because that's what all those sports are entertainment, then okay. If you want to be stupid and your whole life you've been dedicating to this sport, you want to try and take a shortcut to get to stardom in hopes that it isn't tarnished or asterisked, that's on you, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Because most of us won't even remember.
It's true. That's your Balls to the Wall Sports. I'm Lindsay on 97.5 KMOD.
Balls to the Wall Sports is powered by the award-winning service of Ground. Good morning. It's the Big Mad Morning Show. Toll free 833-460-KMOD. We're qualifying people for See 'em All 2025. And Sean Hellard of Coweta heard the cue, so now Sean is in the running. Any concert KMOD is a part of, including VIP Week in Rocklahoma could be Sean's if he wins See 'em All 2025. Another chance to get qualified is coming up every hour with us, and then throughout the day with Mel and J-Rod. Be listening for that cue. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Corbin. If you haven't won $1,000 and rocked the bank, you better be glued to the radio from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. and listen for that nationwide keyword because it's your last week at $1,000. Listen again between 8 and 8 p.m. Next chance to win happens at 8 o'clock this morning. You hear that keyword, you enter it online at KMOD.com. Good luck.
Good morning, Gimpy.
Well, good morning, Corbin. If you cannot get in with us to qualify for See 'em All 2025, I'm going to be out one more time this week. I'm going to be out at the Roost on Brookside this Thursday from 5 to 7. So you can swing on by and get instantly qualified right there.
All right, let's do best and worst of the weekend. What's the best part of the weekend? What's the worst part of the weekend? BMMS and whatever that is to 82945. BMMS space and whatever that is in the body of the text to the phone number 82945. What was the best and what was the worst? Lindsay.
Friday night, a girlfriend of mine, she got pinned for finishing nursing school, and we went out and celebrated her at Middleton's, actually. That was a lot of fun. Got there a little bit early because her ceremony went a little bit longer, I guess. And me and my other girlfriend, Ronnie, got there first and hung out and just had a little nice girls' night until the rest of our party showed up and had
How long?
a few drinks.
What time did you get there?
We got there about 8:15.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then home by midnight. So it was a good night. It was fun. Then the worst part, I would say, it's not even like horrible, but it's
I don't know, you grunted.
It's a first world problem. I haven't shopped at Kohl's in a long time. Used to shop there all the time. Had the Kohl's card and all that. And most recently, my husband had said, hey, will you run into Kohl's and get me a new belt? So I did. And I had the twins with me, and they needed some new clothes. And they had some really good deals on clothes. So I bought them stuff too. Turns out I still have a Kohl's card, and I used it, and I got Kohl's Cash. Well, you know, when you get Kohl's Cash, you have only a certain period of time to use it. So I wrote it down. I even set my date in my phone, a reminder. Yes. And because it was $110 worth of Kohl's Cash. That's free money to spend. Yeah.
Woman logic, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the deadline was last night, and I completely
Ignored your reminder.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't. I went online and I looked because I wasn't going to go to the store. I was going to purchase something online. I needed sheets, and I thought I will get to it on Sunday. And I got busy yesterday. We got to doing other things. I woke up this morning, and there was that damn Kohl's Cash sitting on my dresser. So mad when I saw that.
I don't know how you're going to make it through your week.
I
but
know,
We'll be
right?
thinking about you.
I know, because sheets are
Kohl's strong.
expensive. You know, good
Sure.
sheets are expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I'll be hitting up the Amazon, I'm sure.
Best and worst of the weekend. What's the best part of the weekend and the worst part of the weekend? BMMS and whatever that is to 82945. Gimpy, what's the best and what's the worst?
Oh, I think the best part of the weekend was probably Saturday. Saturday, I had my remote at the cricket or whatever, and then after that, I caught up with some friends of mine who were on the Blue Star Mothers Poker Run. They do it every year, and so I caught up with them, and as I did not get to fully participate in said poker run, still got to ride with those guys, which is always good. And at the end, you know, door prizes, blah blah blah, all that stuff. It was really good. It was good. Perfect weather for it too. You could not ask for better weather on a Saturday. I'll tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the worst part of the weekend would probably also be Saturday as well. Just kind of filled with unnecessary pain, I guess one could say. So I'm healing. My stitches are healing from my vasectomy, right?
Oh.
And it's still a little kind of tender right there at the incision mark. So every time I'd move, those stitches would catch and remind me that they're there. And I'm like, God dang it. So very unpleasant and unnecessary pain there. And then, I'll be damned, before I leave to go on this poker run, I'm like, I need to put some air in the back tire of my bike. So I do. And I'll be damned if not once, not twice, but 3 times I burned my goddamn arm in the same spot on the exhaust pipe of my motorcycle. You'd think I'd learned a lesson the first time I burnt it. No, but it's just at an awkward spot trying to get the damn air hose onto the nipple, and it just, I was like, ow, damn it. I never did. But eventually I got the air in and we was good to go. But still, unnecessary pain.
Best and worst of the weekend. What's the best part of your weekend and the worst part of your weekend? BMMS and whatever that is to 82945. Best part of the weekend was my children had their piano recital. And so it was fun to see them play. My youngest surprised us. I didn't know she was going to do this. Played the ukulele and sang.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty awesome.
What song?
Twinkle, Twinkle.
Oh.
On a ukulele.
Yeah.
By the way,
awesome.
she's in first grade. So
Pretty awesome.
pretty cool. So she played piano, then played ukulele. Pretty awesome. Last year she played piano, drums, and bells.
Well, look at this little show.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Foo Fighters need a new drummer.
She really likes it. And so that was pretty awesome. I didn't play an instrument till like 7th grade. So the fact that they're already well into it and they're in 1st and 3rd, pretty great. So that was awesome. The worst part of the weekend was on Saturday night. We grilled out because, as Gimpy said, it was great weather. And I was cleaning stuff up, and I had my shirt off and just was wearing my shorts, no shoes, because it was so awesome outside, right?
Yeah.
And I turned around and hit my pinky toe on the cabinet and tore my pinky toenail off.
Where were your Crocs?
It's no lost Kohl's cash, I admit, but it sucks.
Yeah.
So I hit it, fell to the floor. I've stubbed my toe many times. And I was like, like fell to the ground. And my wife was like, are you okay? I was like, just give me a minute. And I opened my eyes and could see through my legs and saw my toenail trying to hang a righty.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, don't look at my feet. And she was like, there's a lot of blood. And so I looked again, and there was like already about the size of a $50 puddle of blood coming off my pinky toe.
Damn. Now, is this the one with the wonky toenail
Yes.
already? All right.
Yeah. And so it takes me a minute to collect myself, and I get a paper towel to just try and catch the blood, trying to get it just to stop at the moment.
Yeah.
And dealing with your pinky toe on anything is not just clipping a pinky toe is already a challenge. And so I'm trying to get, put pressure on it and breathe.
Right.
And
got a little something in the way there?
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
And not real flexible, all that stuff, right?
Right.
And so she's like, what can I do? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. You don't like the sight of blood. I don't know what you think you can do, but I'm open to ideas, because you're like, My kids are like, are you okay, Dad? They bring me their stuffies, like, I'm good.
I am fine.
So I finally get it to stop bleeding, and I improvise a paper towel wrapped around the pinky toe, so my pinky toe's sticking out to really far.
Did you break it?
No.
Okay.
No, just so because I have to weave the paper towel in between the pinky, the little piggy, and the next piggy.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you stubbed it hard enough to break it and cause it to get.
I may have.
Oof.
We'll come back to that.
Oof.
And so I'm limping, of course, because it's pretty sensitive. and then I take the paper towel off, and the pinky toenail is like,
Oh, gosh.
just flapping around. I'm like, I got to cut that off.
Yep.
And I know if you partially tear your nails, you should not pull them off because you can damage the cuticle, and that's a bigger problem.
Right.
But it's like flapping. And I'm like, I think I just got to cut this off. And so I go and get a pair of cuticle clippers, if you know what those are, because I don't own scalpels. I have gift wrapping scissors. I have my Amazon knife. Not a knife I bought from Amazon.
Right.
Right.
It's the knife you use to open Amazon. And we've got cuticle cutters. So I clean them off with alcohol, do all that stuff. And I'm like, tell my wife, I'm like, just go away so I can do this. Because she doesn't like the sight of blood. I don't need that to deal with
Right.
when you pass out. And so I grab it, and I can't grab a hold of it because I don't want to pull it.
Right.
And I wanted to see like how far where it was attached on the side, or was it nail? Was the part of the nail still connected to the nail bed? It's not. It's pure skin. And so I kind of get the cuticle clippers. For those that don't know, cuticle clippers they're pretty sharp, and they're very small scissors. They're designed to cut the cuticles around your nail beds. And I go to pull on it, and I'm like, like I almost vomited. And I take the cuticle thing, and I kind of put it in there, and I'm like, what the heck? And so I can't see where the sharp part is, and so I just cut it right off. Get in the shower. We have a water softener, so the water's salt. Feels awesome.
Right.
I kind of look at it. My toe is now swelling up, right? It's getting pretty big. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. It is what it is. It's still bleeding a good amount, so I've put a Band-Aid on it. And when I put the Band-Aid on it, there's so much blood and stuff, I can't see how much of the nail bed got taken off. Anyway, fast forward. So I got to wear Crocs because I can't wear any other shoes.
Makes sense.
If you were wearing them the first time,
I know.
you wouldn't have this
I know,
problem.
Dad. And so yesterday, I take the bandage off. Now, toenails take about 6 months to regrow.
Yeah.
Good to know.
6 months, maybe. So we'll see what happens, because right now it looks like I accidentally cut off part of my toe.
Yeah.
But yesterday, the blood had dissipated enough and I could clean it out. I have a pretty good crevice in my nail bed.
Okay.
And it's a pinky toe. And it's in Crocs that I'm real clean. So and try putting a Band-Aid on a pinky toe.
Yeah.
It's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
And try going online looking for a YouTube video on how to do it, because there's none. They're mostly on if you like break your toe or whatever, like trying to if you know what the buddy system and taping is, buddy it up.
Right.
Which is not what I need. I need something putting pressure on the wound with antibacterial. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's not missing your Kohl's cash.
Did you by any chance do any video of it? Of your
It's interesting.
self-mutilation?
No, that's interesting you brought that up. No. Because I was in so much discomfort and pain. And it's not bad right now, but if I walk, I feel it.
Oh, yeah.
And right when I get out of bed, it definitely does not feel awesome.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I'm sorry.
I told my wife, if I keep falling over, you'll know why. You don't realize how much stability a nail brings. Even the little pinky nail.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's no falling through the attic,
Right. Right.
but it sucks.
That's why you always wear shoes, no matter what.
Right. No matter the temperature
No
outside.
matter if
Why?
you're in
Why
your
is
house
it? Why
or
is
outside.
it? Tell me why that is being said right now. When people are like, "Oh, be a man, be out there with no shoes on, get in touch with nature." But now, when you get injured, you're like, "That's why you always wear shoes."
All right.
What happened to get a little dirty? What
listen.
happened to be a man?
Be a man, get dirty. I'm not the one who told you take your shoes off and become one with the earth, but apparently you listen to the wrong people.
My favorite text. I knew I was gonna get this. Pussy. Sure. Sure.
A stub toe is the worst. I'll be a pussy all day, every
Not a
day.
stub toe. Don't do that.
Well,
Don't do that. Don't undermine my worst of the weekend.
Essentially,
Have you been bitten by a shark?
you stubbed your toe.
It's
and
no-
it ripped the nail off.
There.
Yes.
Don't undermine it with I
undermining.
stubbed my toe. That's not what happened. I ripped my toenail off.
Literally stubbed your toe,
Nope.
and the nail came with
Nope.
it.
I ripped my toenail off.
What
Stub
was it?
your toe. There's no blood.
Truth.
This is the worst end of a stubbing of the
There's
toe.
no field surgery happening.
You could stub your toe and split your toe wide open. The fact of it is,
No, that doesn't happen.
The nail came off because you stubbed your toe. Because why? Because you weren't wearing shoes like you're supposed to.
It's not a stub toe. Stop doing that.
It's way worse. What was it that you hit your foot on?
The cabinet. Like the counter,
like
like the
corner?
kitchen, in the kitchen.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, nice and sturdy. Yeah. Not something that I can just fall over like a plastic lawn chair. or
Yeah. I was like, I want to win the lottery and have no corners to catch things on.
No doubt.
Corbin, put a glob of Neosporin on that baby toe. I have been.
Right.
But here's the problem. Again, it's your baby toe. It's really hard to put a bandage on. Two, you got to put a little bit of Neosporin. You can't put a glob because what does that do? It makes it slick and allows the Band-Aid to slide around.
Right, right.
And then it creates an oily discharge because you're not getting a super tight affixation, if you will, of the medical apparatus. Best and worst of the weekend. Best of the weekend, getting to spend time with my lady. Worst of the weekend, having to clear a house of all the nitrous oxide bottles. I've almost got a full pickup bed of the bottles.
Somebody having whippet parties?
Right?
Damn.
What's going on?
Were you having teenagers over?
Well, maybe they're racers, right? And they just got their empty bottles of NOS for their race cars hanging out. Sure.
If you... I will say, there's a time and a place for whippets.
Yeah.
A rave,
Sure.
maybe a dead show.
Grateful Dead.
Maybe going to see the string cheese incident. I don't know. Yonder Mountain String Band. Maybe. But just because it's a Saturday?
Right.
Only if you're 17.
Best was I got to take my kids fishing for the first time ever. The worst part was having to sit down with my wife and hash out 3 worths of relationship woes in 1 in the morning. Ooh.
That sounds pretty bad.
Sounds like no alcohol was involved in that. We got a guy coming on at 9. He can help you with that. Feel free to get your question over to us if you need help. Best was I actually slept more than 6 hours and got all of the laundry done. Worst, I was unintentionally initiated in a fight about not getting my husband a Father's Day gift since I didn't get a Mother's Day gift, and now he will get a new smoker.
But you still didn't get anything for Mother's Day, so.
Yeah, also not Father's Day.
Yeah. Still got a month.
Yeah.
A little less than, but
Best got to watch my son make some badass plays this weekend at his baseball game. Worst, he got rained out yesterday, so our tournament was over early. We had some friends go to a tournament in Arkansas, and the video of some of the hail that fell, it looks like it snowed.
wow.
It's a wild amount of hail, like inches
Yeah.
of pea-size hail.
Dang.
The guy that called you pussy definitely drinks White Claw on ice. Maybe. I don't know if drinking White Claw or White Claw on ice makes you a weakling or whatever that implies.
Yeah.
At least you won't have to trim that nail for a while. True dad, it was already a giant pain. Best took my son fishing. Worst, last weekend before kidney surgery. Good luck, man.
Yeah.
Good luck. Of the surgeries, at least you know kidney, you have another one. Well, I hope you do.
Right.
True that.
You have heart surgery. If they don't get it right,
You donezo.
Yeah.
kidney surgery, if they don't get it right, they're like, we'll just take it out. It's fine.
Whatever. You can do
There's
without
always
one.
dialysis.
He's got another one. All right, we got to take a break. We're giving away tickets to see Seether, who are going to be at the Hard Rock Live inside the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Thursday the 29th. Get your tickets, hardrockcasinotulsa.com. We'll give those away when we come back. Good morning. It's the Big Mad Morning Show. Toll free 833-460-KMOD is the phone number. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Let's play a game. Tickets to see Seether. They're going to be at the Hard Rock Live on Thursday, the 29th. Get your tickets, hardrockcasinotulsa.com, or try to win them right now. And now we're going to play a little game like we call it Note You.
Yeah.
Is it?
Note off, note you, note yourself. There's a note involved somewhere.
Anyway, it's one note of a famous song. Today, after every guess, I'll give a clue. Should we need it? We'll see. You got to call at 833-460-KMOD. Good morning. You're on the air. What is your name?
Kristen.
Kristen, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. So, one note, famous song. You guessed correctly. You're getting tickets to see Seether, okay?
Okay, let's see.
All right, here it is. You got to call. I'll play it again. What song is that?
Oh, wow. Oh. Oh, my God. I want to say she effing hates me, but I'm going to go with that. She fucking hates me.
Oh,
Well, you know.
I'm going to go with that.
yeah, you can't swear, girl.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So let me play the clue again. You can give your guess edited. What is it?
She bleeping hates me.
It is. Congratulations. You're getting those tickets. You're going to see Seether.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Hang on the line, okay?
Oh, my gosh. Thank you.
Excellent job. Well, I'll give you clues if you don't get it.
She wanted to swear again after winning.
Old me would have not given him to her first one.
Yeah, right. I wasn't sure if you was going to anyway, because technically that's not the name of the song. You know.
Yes, it is.
Well, She Hates Me is the name of the song.
In our system. Technically, the name of the song is
Oh.
She
Okay.
Expletive Hates Me.
There you go. I stand corrected.
Either way,
Close enough, I guess.
why did you not want her to win?
Well, it's not like I didn't want her to win, you know. But listen, you got your tickets anyway, so enjoy seeing Seether.
Seether's going to be at the Hard Rock Live on Thursday, Thursday, May 29th. Get your tickets, hardrockcasinotulsa.com. We'll be back.
More of the Big Man Morning Show is next.
4x4.
Well, COVID says here that Biden's diagnosed with aggressive form of prostate cancer. Former President Biden is suffering from an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread into his bones. A spokesman for the former president says the diagnosis came after doctors found a nodule on his prostate on Friday that required further evaluation. The cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The statement said that the former president and his family are reviewing treatment options.
Life expectancy, from what I read about that, 5 years.
Really? Okay.
And he's how old?
88.
Yeah.
82.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. What else we got here? Measles cases top 1,000. There are more than 1,000 confirmed cases of measles across 30 states since the outbreak started in Texas in January. It's not far behind the more than 1,270 cases recorded in 2019. It's only the second time there have been that many cases in 3 decades. Texas is still ground zero of the outbreak with more than 700 cases reported. According to the CDC, 3 people have died, including 2 children. It says here that Israel says, we'll allow some food into Gaza. Israel says it'll start letting in what it calls a basic amount of food into Gaza after a 10-week blockade. The announcement comes after the Israeli military started extensive ground operations against the military group Hamas in the old strip. Aid agencies have repeatedly warned about the risk of starvation in the occupied territory, where basic infrastructure has been obliterated since the war began in 2023. And then lastly here, Broken Arrow Public Schools reschedules their graduation and related events due to severe weather. Now, BA Public Schools class of 2025 was set to graduate today, but it's moved to tomorrow, the 20th, due to forecasted severe weather. Now, seniors are excused from attendance today, tomorrow, and the next day, unless they are at risk of failing and need to take final exams. The project graduation event has also been rescheduled till tomorrow, and registration will be open from 10:30 to 11 p.m. at the high school.
Antonio Brown was briefly detained by police early on Saturday following an altercation in which gunshots were fired outside a celebrity boxing event in Miami. According to the former NFL star and video posted to social media, Miami police confirmed in a written statement that officers responded to the area at about 3 a.m. after receiving an alert from the gunshot detection system ShotSpotter. Officer Chiara Delva, a department spokeswoman, said police questioned several people but made no arrests. No injuries were reported at the scene. The investigation continues, the officer said, and she could not confirm the names of anyone involved. Video posted to social media showed Antonio Brown involved in a fight with several people at the boxing event, which was hosted by popular streamer Aiden Ross. He was seen apparently holding a black pistol as he pursued someone. Shots could be heard then off camera shortly after. Additional video showed Brown, hands behind his back, being escorted from the venue by an officer. Now, Brown posted on social media that he had been jumped by multiple individuals who tried to steal his jewelry and cause physical harm to him. Police temporarily detained me until they received my side of the story and then released me. I went home that night and was not arrested, he wrote. His statement did not mention the gunshots.
Running after somebody with a gun? Wild.
Yeah, right.
That's wild to me.
Absolutely. And it's suspicious because we all know of the story of the sports player who did get jumped for his jewelry, which was, around December, November, in the fall. There was a football player, young rookie football player.
Are you talking about the San Francisco 49 player who was walking down the street and someone tried to take his watch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a little different. That's more of a mugging scenario.
Yeah.
This is at an event. And if he's flashing it, probably with no security,
just his pistol on him. Yeah. Astros will be without a member of their starting rotation for the remainder of the season. Houston right-hander Hayden Wesneski is set to undergo season-ending Tommy John elbow reconstruction surgery. The injury will likely sideline him until late in the 2026 season. He was placed on the 15-day injured list due to right elbow discomfort on May 9th. The 27-year-old wraps up the season 1 and 3 with a 4.50 ERA through 6 starts. And the Dodgers have parted ways with a longtime member of their roster. Los Angeles released veteran utility player Chris Taylor on Sunday. Taylor was in his 10th season with the Dodgers after joining the franchise in 2016. Los Angeles will pay out the final year of Taylor's 4-year, $60 million contract and allow him to be a free agent. In another move, the team has activated fellow utility player Tommy Edman off the injured list. And that's your Balls to the Wall Sports. I'm Lindsay on 97.5 KMOD.
Balls to the Wall Sports is powered by the award-winning service of Groundworks Tulsa. More of the Big Mad Morning Show is next. Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show. Toll free 833-460-KMOD. Can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Corbin. Did you rock the bank? Go online, KMOD.com. If you missed the 8 o'clock keyword, it was happy, which you will be if you win $1,000. You've got up until 8 o'clock tonight to win $1,000 every hour. So listen for that keyword again at 9 o'clock this morning and enter it at KMOD.com.
Good morning, Gimpy.
Well, good morning, Corbin. You want to go see Blink 182 for free when they come to the Walmart Amphitheater in September? I'll send you there. All you got to do is hit up the contest page on the website that rocks, KMOD.com. Boom, pow. You can enter right there.
All right, time for Our Listeners Are Awesome. We chat with a listener. They share part of their life with us. On the line with us right now is Ryan. Hey, Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. It says you've been married 13 years. How did you meet your wife?
Well, we both worked at the Walmart in Owasso.
And she was, what, checking some people out? And you were like, look at the way she bags groceries.
No, I actually worked in the bakery, and she worked in the deli department, so they shared like a common hallway in the back. And so we sort of quasi-worked side by side all the time. And, yeah.
How'd you ask her out?
Well, that's kind of a funny story. There wasn't really like the traditional asking her out. I had just quit going to college, and so I was still living at home with my parents. I was like 20, 21, and actually my mom worked in the deli as well, and she had moved out here from out of town and had been living with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend had just recently broke up. She couldn't afford the rent at her place, and for whatever reason, my mom was like, hey, you could move in with us. I was like, yeah, she can move in with us. That'd be cool. That sounds awesome. And so it just kind of went from there. It's kind of weird how it worked out, but yeah, we've effectively lived together since the very beginning.
And was there any like romantic, like when she started staying at your place or you staying at her place or whatever? Was there any meeting in the bathroom or sneaking into each other's bed?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
That means it definitely happened.
So what I'm hearing you say is you brainwashed her. No? Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. All right, so let's go backwards a little bit. It says you got in a car accident, but you were trying to impress a girl. Why would you get in a car accident to impress a girl?
So there was, it was my senior year, and there was a girl that had like moved to our school like the middle of the year, and she lived not too far from me, and I thought she was cute. We had a class or two together, and you know, I, having absolute zero self-awareness and zero smoothness with the ladies, thought that I had more than I did. Well, one day she'd been asking for a ride home from like one of my classmates that was kind of close by, and he couldn't do it. And I was like, hey, you happen to live not too far away, you can ride with me. She's like, oh, okay, that works. And so she hopped in the car and we took off. Like, this was right after school, because a lot of people ask me, like, were you drunk? And I'm like, nope, stone cold sober. And, so we took off, and I went to Sequoia out north of Claremore, so we kind of lived out in the sticks anyways, and got going down the backcountry road kind of in the direction of our homes, relatively speaking, and I just thought driving fast was cool. And so I was driving '96 Chevy Beretta Z26.
Nice.
I remember that. Yeah, I thought it was badass. And, so we ended up going down the road, and actually the guy that she had asked originally, his name was Brian, he was in front of me on, like, this 2-lane county road, and so I passed him, again, thinking I was, like, super slick, I guess, and I'm doing about 65 down this county road, and I slow down, I take off on this left fork to go down another road. And again, I'm still like, I quickly get back up to speed. I'm doing like about 60 to 65 again. And I started going around this really curvy section. And the speed limit was 30, and I did not navigate it well. I came around the first curve and actually lost control. And when I lost control, I started, like, the back end of my car started, fishtailing a little bit, and then I overcorrected to, try to get it back in control. And, that's when I straightened up for a split second, and by that time I was about 60 miles an hour straight into a tree, big oak tree.
Wow, so you hit a tree with a girl you were trying to impress. Like, she was in the car. How bad was the car damaged, and were either of you injured?
So that car was completely totaled. I mean, it basically relocated the engine. She luckily came out relatively fine. She had a couple scrapes, a small cut on her head, and some seatbelt rash on her, across her chest. I, however, had to be extracted and then flown to the hospital. It knocked me out, I'll say that. I had never been, like, hit in the face that bad, and the airbag just knocked me smooth out. And when I came to, started doing, like, a systems check, checked all my fingers. I'm like, all right. I checked my left foot. I can wiggle my toes, but I can't move my left leg. Like, I'm trying to move it. It's not really working out. Don't really know why. Then I try to move my right toes, and it just doesn't feel right. And so I kind of pull myself up, and I reach down and, running my hand down my leg. And it only goes so far, and then it just hits open air. I'm like, that's not normal. And I pull my hand up, and it's covered in blood. So I kind of pull myself up a little further, and my right lower leg was snapped in half right about the midway point, and it actually ended up, like, twisting it around, and my foot was partially underneath my driver's seat.
Wow. So do you pass out or you stay conscious? Like, how long are you in that position or in that state before medical personnel get to you?
I honestly don't know, like, exactly how long it was, because I was kind of in and out of consciousness. Like that moment when I came to, I'm checking myself and I check her. Like, honestly, it's probably one of the most terrifying feelings that I ever had in my life, because at first she wasn't moving because she had been knocked out from the impact as well. My perception, though, was that she was dead. So I thought I'd killed her. And, like, that, like, wrecked my whole entire world more than anything. And, so I, like, started tapping her on the shoulder, like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? And, like, she sort of came to, and I was like, whew. And I managed to pull my cell phone out of my pocket, and I called 911. And, I get on the phone with them, and I tell them the best I can where I'm at and what happened. And, they're trying to keep me calm and tell me, the EMS is on the way, police are on the way and all that stuff. And I was like, all right, I got to go. I got to call my mom. They're like, sir, no, don't hang up. Don't hang up, sir. Sir. I was like, no, I got to go. And just click, hung up on 911. And then I called my mom, who actually worked about roughly about 4 miles further down the road from me. And of course, scare the hell out of her. So she's freaking out. She calls my dad. And from there, I'm like I said, I'm kind of in and out of consciousness. I'd come to and then just, be daylight still. And then I kind of passed out. And then I came to a little bit later, like a few minutes later. And Rogers County Sheriff had rolled up, and pretty sure I was probably like either one of the first or one of the worst wrecks this guy had ever seen, because he was relatively young and his eyes were just huge. And I was like, hey, man, Leo, I'm just trying to, I guess, hold a conversation with him. And
right, trying to play it cool as your leg is now in the back seat.
Yeah.
They say put a shoe back there so you always check your kids, but I don't think they literally mean your foot. So,
Yeah.
All right, so the police show up, and then do you get life flighted, or is it an ambulance? Do you remember?
So it was a short ambulance ride to a life flight.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, in and out of consciousness, I wake up. Fire department's there. They extract me, get me in the ambulance, and then they're rolling me down the road. But I remember when they extracted me, I just started bawling, and the EMT was like, "Are you crying because you're hurt, or crying because you're scared?" I'm just like, both.
Yeah.
And so they pushed a shot of Dilaudid, and then I didn't really care about anything at that point.
No, Dilaudid's awesome, man.
It felt awesome.
Yeah, probably just the adrenaline dumping out, and like you just all of it hitting you at once. All right, so what happened to the girl? Like, how long did you guys date after that? Did she come visit you in the hospital?
No, we didn't date. I actually never talked to her again.
Never, not
yeah,
like an
no.
I'm sorry, not like, hey, I feel really bad, nothing?
Not that I recall, because this happened at the very end of March. It was the day after my 18th birthday, and it was my senior year. So the rest of my school year was spent at home. I think I went up there to visit one time, and I may have seen her then, but I can't remember. As far as I know, I never saw her again. Yeah. And, I mean, I heard she was okay in the long run after that. And, but then, years later, I don't know if you all do this. I know everyone else does. Occasionally just scroll through the socials trying to be like, oh, hey, I remember this guy. I wonder what happened to him. See if I can find him.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't make it sound like you were just scrolling. You went creeping. It's okay. People do it. You said it.
Nah.
You went creeping. You went investigating. It's okay. But don't undermine it like you're just scrolling around like a doop-a-derp. Oh, looky here, a left turn.
Right.
It's okay.
Well, there were times where this conversation was brought up, and so she came to the forefront, and I'd be like, man, I wonder whatever happened to her. And so, yeah, I went creeping. There was a long time I never found her. And then a few years ago, I had discovered she had actually passed away about 10 years ago, 10 to 12, I think. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, snap, what happened there? And so I dug some more, and she, from what I could tell, actually passed away in a car wreck.
Mm.
It was some wild stuff to kind of come across that.
Quick question. How many times did you search for her, hit a dead end, and then try again?
Over the years?
Oh, yeah.
Probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
You trying to hook up?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't ever anything like that. It wasn't.
No, I'm curiosity. I think that's completely normal. 2 to 3 times, like,
All right.
don't give up, man. Daddy didn't raise no quitter.
I mean, you're talking over the course of like 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. It's all good, man. No judgment here. And did she die in the car wreck with you and you've just blocked it out? Maybe that explains why you never saw her, you never got to say anything. Like, do you know she went back to school?
Yeah, I know for a fact she survived. Yeah.
For a little while, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, for a few more years. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, her parents sued my parents' insurance.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
So-
actually
As they
quite
should.
common. That's quite common.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that was like, yeah, no, she definitely made it out.
And did you get in trouble? Like, did you get a ticket or have to go to court or a fine or anything?
So I got a ticket in the mail from the Highway Patrol about a month later, and yeah, it was for like $300 or $400 for reckless driving, and yeah. The funny thing is luckily, I mean, thankfully, my parents just handled that. I wasn't aware of it until a while later, and I actually ended up maybe it's morbid. I don't know. I had like a box of like small keepsakes from my car that some of my friends had collected after the fact, and I just like put everything basically in a shoebox, and apparently including a copy of that ticket, and it's just been like stuffed in a closet forever. And about a year or two ago, my wife and I were cleaning out our closet and going through stuff, and I opened up this box and I'm like, oh crap, look at all this stuff. Kind of rolling down memory lane. I pull out the ticket and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I can't believe I kept a copy of this. I'm looking at it and I go, oh, those SOBs. And my wife goes, what? I said, well, I could have gotten out of this ticket. She goes, how? I said, well, they wrote down that I was driving a 1986 Chevy Beretta, but I wasn't. I was driving a 96. Could have saved myself $300 or $400, or my parents anyways. So that was like the small funny from that.
Yeah.
It works like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've rectified that problem when it says 86, but it's 96. And nonetheless, either way, you paid it and had to deal with it. Dude, that is a wild story. That is just going through one wreck in your life is always kind of crazy, but that feels like you got every ounce of crazy out of that experience for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit of a shock. I'll say that.
Yeah. Not
'cause up
nearly
until
as
that
shock
point,
as she
I
had.
never-
Right.
Yeah, no. 'Cause, but yeah, like I had never wrecked before, never broken anything, and like, hey, let's do it all at once. Why not?
What was her name?
Lauren
Lauren what?
Halliburton.
Like it was yesterday.
Well, so you're drumming. We're talking about this.
HALIBUTRO.
I don't remember that well.
Yeah, sure. Sure. You had a file. You had like a string picture diagram on the wall trying to figure out where she... Listen, dude, this is a great story, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and be careful driving. I hear you driving now with the rain and stuff. We don't need you wrapped around another tree.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it from happening again.
Right on, brother. Thanks so much for taking the time. It was great talking to you.
You too, man.
All right, see you later. That's Ryan. Our listeners are awesome. We'll take a break, and we'll be back.
Tulsa's morning show. Oh, yeah. Is
Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show. Toll free 833-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. I'm constantly farming for content, right? Looking for something to talk about, trying to find good stuff. And once in a while, I hit a gold mine. Mm-hmm. And today, something just came across my email inbox, and I'll read you the headline. We sometimes milked 3,000 snails a day. The dying art of milking snails.
Excuse me? Last time I checked, snails don't have nipples. How are you milking a snail?
It's a great question. Because I wanted to get into this. I was very curious.
They said on Meet the Parents, you can milk anything with nipples.
Right.
I don't see nips.
Apparently, there are only 14 men, always got to be men, 80, and one of them is 81 years old that can do this. And it's been a practice dating back 1,500 years. And they use this for dyeing yarn and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
And that once they're done milking the snail, it turns purple when exposed to sun and air. And I was curious about how they do this. And apparently, they don't kill the snails to get it out.
Okay.
They gently squeeze or stimulate a gland near the snail's foot to release a small amount of a milky secretion.
All right. Where's the gland again? On its foot?
Nope, not on its foot.
Close
near.
To it. Near its foot. And, snails have just one foot.
Each snail produces about a drop at a time. And a skilled milker, which is something, I don't know if I'll ever get that title, can collect enough dye for a few grams in a full day.
Wow.
Usually enough to dye a skein of yarn. And it takes hundreds of snails and several hours of climbing sharp rocks to even get that many snails. So today, when you're complaining about your job, I'm only one of 14 people that can do this. Yes. Yes, you are.
That is impressive. Though.
Just because you're a small number of people that can do something doesn't mean it's that great.
What do you do for work? I am a snail milker. I milk snails.
You aren't leading with that.
No.
I harvest dye.
Right. I work with insects.
I harvest dye for traditional cultural dyeing process for garments. Been around 1,500 years. It's a very special practice.
My dad was a snail milker. My grandpa was a snail milker. I'm destined to milk snails.
What's wrong, Johnny? I'm having a bad day at work. What's wrong? I just don't have that touch anymore.
I've done all I could.
I can't get this one.
An unmilkable snail.
Hey, he's a nice guy. Don't be doing your 9 o'clock thing yet.
Okay.
Because everybody has a bad day at work.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible. Just one day you just can't get the snail milking.
Somehow they had to stumble across. How did they come across this? How do they know?
It's been around 1,500 years.
I know.
So when 1,500 years ago, and, they're like, we need purple dye. Oh, how about that root? Nope. How about blood? Nope. How about these plants? Nope. How about these flowers? Nope. How about squid ink diluted? Nope. How about a rock ground up and then added? Nope. Hey, Chester the molester. What idea do you have? You're not gonna like it.
Well,
can the women do it? Oh no, no. Only men really know how to do this correctly. Women just think they do. Because Hawk Tuohy hasn't been invented yet.
right. Lotion hasn't been invented yet.
What you do is you're just like, not too hard. You don't want to go. And if it's a big snail, you'll go full palm.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I bet you, they say that men figured this out, but I don't know. I think a woman did it and then had to show the guy how it was done. And then he told his friends about it. Because, you got to be real gentle when you're rubbing that snail foot. It's not something you can just go hard into, and just get to scrubbing away.
I've seen some snails
Yeah.
get smacked around.
True. Some snails like it that way, but,
Those produce a different color dye.
Right.
That's not the dye you want,
No.
to dye your culturally significant garments with.
No. That's
Oh, here-
something you sell on the aftermarkets.
Here we go. Text. How do you know my name was Snails? Okay. Have you ever heard of milking spiders? Just the angry ones.
Oh, God, no. No. I guess anything can be milked if there are people out there milking spiders. Milking spiders refers to the process of extracting venom from spiders,
Sure.
typically for research, antivenom production. Okay. Kind of like they do milking snakes to get their venom, I
Right.
guess.
Just also remember there's also a term connected to that with stud horses. So
Yeah. Not it.
I bet they don't just let the intern do it.
No. You have to be a skilled, seasoned worker for that job if you want to get it done right. But
You do want to get it done right. It
Yeah.
isn't if.
Yeah.
You do want to get it done right.
Yeah, because those things are expensive. Those racehorses are expensive.
Yes, and each pull, that's the term,
Yeah.
is expensive.
Yeah. But everybody's got to start somewhere. I am sure there's not a college course on that.
No. You're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's a starting spot. That's an ending spot.
That's where you done.
That's an esteemed job to be the horse person
Right.
that helps get stuff. Yeah. Tap dance, man. Like,
Yeah. I don't know, man. If I was approached with, all right, this is towards the end of your horse racing career, and this is the last step before retirement, can I just retire early? Do I have to go through that step, or is that just, something we can just skip, be okay with?
I mean, it's kind of like, when a vet checks a calf, he has to put on that bread sleeve thing,
Right.
that bread bag.
Yep.
That's not an intern thing. That's like you've worked for that.
Yeah. All my life, I've been waiting to wear a glove that's the size of my arm.
That goes to my armpit.
Exactly.
Real.
I've seen those sold at CVS for when you have a cast.
Right.
Those don't look like they would be comfortable.
No.
I can't imagine any of it's comfortable, to be honest.
No, imagine how the cow feels.
They don't kick.
I'm like, ooh, this is the most action I have seen all year.
Now, granted, its head may be in a vice, but
Right.
not lying.
Right. Do it to the cow, it's all fine. But, I do it to a date on a Saturday night, and I'm some kind of weirdo.
Well, that's because you put her in a vice.
I'm just saying.
We got to take a break. We'll be back.
The Big Mad Morning Show returns next.
Good morning. It's the Big Mad Morning Show. Toll free, 833-460-KMOD. In the other room is Jeff Hensley of Hensley & Associates. He's going to answer your questions about family law, custody, guardianship, name change. Maybe you want to make some summer plans, but baby daddy or baby mama is saying no. Can they? I don't know. Jeff is the expert, and he's going to answer those questions at 9. Get your questions to us ahead of time. The email address is show@kmod.com. You can text it, BMMS, and whatever that question is to 82945, or call at 9 by hitting the phone number 833-460-KMOD. Let's see what Lindsay has for Balls to the Wall Sports.
The WNBA is looking into allegations of hateful fan comments directed at Angel Reese during Chicago's season opener at Indiana. During the third quarter, Fever guard Caitlin Clark slapped at the ball after Reese grabbed an offensive rebound. She was called for a foul that was upgraded to a flagrant one. Reese responded by trying to confront Clark and was booed by fans at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. The Fever said they are cooperating with the league's investigation.
I mean, Reese shouldn't be getting any hatred. She is a double-double queen.
Yeah.
And she is playing a position that is pretty rough. I'm going to give you guys a video because the context before the Caitlin Clark foul is important. And you can see Angel Reese be a little rough. And Caitlin Clark calls it out.
Oh, yeah. She pushed her right out the way.
Yeah, with two hands into the player's back. Caitlin Clark then responds when Reese gets the rebound by slapping the ball. Overly aggressive.
Sure.
For sure. But protecting her teammate.
Yeah.
That is literally the game. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
But because for some reason the media wants to put these two in a narrative as being rivals as opposed to just really good basketball players.
Right.
I agree.
It's just they're just hashing it out in the paint, man. It is what it is, and Angel Reese is very tough when in that position.
Right.
She don't put up with nothing.
Right.
And I just think it's a whole bunch of nothing burger. It feels like a way to put attention on the WNBA in not the right way, in my opinion.
Yeah. Scotty Scheffler is a major champion once again. Scheffler won the PGA Championship after finishing atop the leaderboard at 11 under par. It's the third major championship in Scheffler's career. Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau, and Davis Riley finished tied for second at 6 under par. Jordan Spieth did not complete the career Grand Slam after failing to make the cut. And let's see here. The winner of the Preakness Stakes will be heading to Saratoga Racecourse soon. Journalism crossed the finish line first on Saturday at Pimlico Racecourse, just ahead of Gosger. Journalism is now prepping for the Belmont Stakes at the Spa, which would set up another showdown with Sovereignty, who beat him in the Kentucky Derby earlier this month. The Belmont Stakes takes place on June 7th. Christopher Bell is $1 million richer after winning the NASCAR Cup Series All-Star race from North Wilkesboro Speedway. The driver of the number 20 car overtook last year's winner, Joey Logano, to secure the victory. Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, and Chase Elliott rounded out the top 5 finishers. The field returns to regular season action next Sunday at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
There's a vote happening in the NFL about they want to change the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
And they want to change, basically, they want it to be your placement based off of your record and not on how you do in your conference or in your division. And obviously some people don't like that because it kind of makes the divisions irrelevant. So these were the NFC seedings last year. This rule is being brought up by the Detroit Lions. Lions were number 1, Eagles 2, Buccaneers 3, Rams, Vikings, Commanders, Packers. That was 4, 5, 6, 7, right?
Okay.
Under the new rule, this is how it would have looked. Lions would have still been first. Eagles still would have been first. But the Vikings would have been third instead of fifth. The Commanders would have been fourth instead of sixth. The Packers would have been fifth instead of seventh. The Buccaneers would have been sixth instead of third. And the Rams would have been seventh instead of fourth. And I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to reward a good record.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
to me, if you're then what's it matter if you're second or third? Then it only matters if you're first
Right.
in your division. And I don't. You play. It makes the double play. Playing the team twice a year irrelevant.
Right.
I think you create an argument, then you're like, then why do I got to play them twice?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. If you only wins matter, right? But there is a little bit of strategy that happens with inter-division games.
Right.
When you're like, we're going to be first. Who cares if we lose to the Raiders the second time
Right.
at the final week?
Yeah. I mean, I get it, though. It's like, why have such a great record all year if it doesn't really matter in the end?
It does matter. It does matter. But so does winning your division.
Right.
And coming in second in your division.
Yeah.
If you have a bunch of teams like what happened with the NL East with the Lions and the Vikings and all them, yeah, that's part of the drama of the game.
Right.
But they're apparently supposed to vote on it. It's been brought up before.
Yeah. Isn't it this? Is it
It's this week, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. That's your Balls to the Wall Sports. I'm Lindsay on 97.5 KMOD.
Balls to the Wall Sports is powered by the award-winning Good morning. It's the Big Mad Morning Show. Toll free 833-460-KMOD is the phone number. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Corbin. Happy 28th porn star birthday to Nellie Kent. You can see this exotic Romanian in Bored Wifey No More. I Love Big Toys 42. And whoa, Nellie. She was a 2021 Female Performer of the Year nominee.
Good morning, Gimpy.
Good morning, Corbin. Just got another keyword to rock the bank. The keyword is cash. Take on over to the website that rocks, KMOD.com. Plug it in. Good luck. You've got more chances throughout the day.
Joining us in the studio now is Jeff Hensley of Hensley & Associates. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, good morning.
Jeff's here to answer any question you have about family law, custody, guardianship, name changes, any scenario that has to do with family law, he can answer it. A couple ways to get your question to us. The email address is show@kmod.com. You can call at 833-460-KMOD, or you can text it, BMMS, and whatever that question is, to 82945. This text says, my daughter is going through a rough time, and I've been taking care of my grandkids full time. How can I get legal guardianship to make the decisions for them if this continues?
Well, I mean, we just have to go to the court, whatever county you're in, and we'll file for that guardianship. I mean, when you say she's having a hard time, does that mean there's some holes there, right? Does that mean that she is unfit in some way, or does that mean that she's just working a lot and, never has time? I mean, there's a lot of things in there, because when you go for a guardianship, unless the person agrees to it, typically, not always, but typically there's a finding of unfitness in some way. So the other question is where's dad and why isn't he involved and is he unfit and all that? So, but typically just go and get the guardianship. If you have this issue, please give us a call. We'd love to help you with that.
Let's re-engineer that.
Sorry.
If you find yourself in a spot where you can't take care of your kids,
right?
What's the best, and your parents are helping you, what are your options?
Sure. I mean, your options are to nominate them to be guardians. I think that's a smart idea, especially if they're helping and you are unable to do it yourself at this time. That's one way to go. And, I mean, you could do a power of attorney. We have talked about those before. But the difference is power of attorneys are limited and they can be revoked at any time. So, even though she gives you a POA now, that doesn't mean that she's not going to revoke it in a week or a month or a day or whatever it may be. So guardianship's the better way to go because it can't be revoked. It can be terminated, but it has to be terminated by a judge in a courtroom.
Will a power of attorney work just as well as a guardianship in that scenario? If you find yourself as a parent going, I need to get my life in order.
It is a Band-Aid compared to a guardianship, which is the proper fix. If you need to do something immediately because you've got to get them in school or take them to the doctor or whatever, a POA, power of attorney, will do that. And again, it's a Band-Aid fix. It's not a long-term fix. And the person receiving the POA, the problem is the person gave it to you can revoke it at any time.
And one, do you need the court for, and one you do not?
No, you should use an attorney for both. A court has to sign the guardianship. A court does not have to sign the power of attorney.
What about I just sign a piece of paper for my parents to be in charge of my kids?
It's vague. It's got to be specific. And again, in the long run, that can be revoked at any point.
Those we've talked about those before, those kitchen dinner table agreements.
Yeah, I mean, those worked in the 50s and 40s and 30s. And, God bless you for even trying to do it. I think that's great. You want to help out, but it's not the proper thing to do it correctly.
Jeff Hensley from Hensley & Associates is in the studio to answer your questions about family law. A couple ways to get your question to us. 833-460-KMOD is the phone number. You can ask Jeff yourself. You can text your question, BMMS space, and whatever that question is, to 82945. Or you can email show@kmod.com like this one. It says, my ex is using our kids to punish me, canceling visits at the last minute, bad-mouthing me to them, and trying to turn them against me. It's emotionally draining for me and confusing for them. What legal steps can I take to stop this?
Well, I mean, I guess my first question is are there any orders in place? And have you filed anything? Did they say if they were married? I'm sorry. Or does it say? I didn't hear it.
I don't think it said married. It says ex.
Okay, so probably not married. In the state of Oklahoma, since November 1st, 2011, the law has been that mom can do whatever she wants until dad files something in a court of law. So all these things that you're talking about can be remedied by a court, but you have to file paternity action to do that. I mean, you've got to be adjudicated dad, so you have the same rights. And also, too, so you can get something called a judicial order of proper conduct put in place that can actually give teeth to the things that she's doing, and you can hold her in contempt of court if she violates it. So, until you do something and give us a call so we can give you help with this and file a paternity action, she can pretty much do what she wants to do, unfortunately.
Jeff from Hensley & Associates is here. You can email your question like this one we just got. How long does the father not have any contact with the kids before it becomes default and I get full custody?
That doesn't even make any sense. Let me see if I can parse it apart a little bit. So if it's a paternity action, like I just said, all right, whoever this is, if you're the mom, you've already got sole custody under Oklahoma law anyway. The way it's been for the last almost 14 and a half years, all right?
We can talk about that a lot, and it still feels like new information, even to me, and we've been talking about it for a long time.
Right.
You do not, as the male, unless you're married, have rights to the kids, full stop.
That's correct, and that's the way the law's been. So, I mean, it's, I think part of that stems from, I blame TV. I blame the media to a certain degree, only because you get these I shouldn't say misinformation, unintentional disinformation through TV shows and things of that nature. Or, we look on our smartphones and we read the news from other states or national news or whatever, where they're talking about a case in New York or celebrities, right? Mm-hmm. And so remember, those laws only apply to where those people live. That's not Oklahoma law. And unless it's an article about somebody from Oklahoma, it doesn't really apply. It may be interesting, things to read, but it doesn't apply legal for the law. But with that being said, that's why I blame kind of the misinformation. It's not. I don't think it's intentional. I just think people forget that every law in every state can be different on a lot of different issues. What we have here in Oklahoma may not be what they have in New York or California or Washington State or Texas or wherever in the United States. It varies from state to state on certain topics, this being one of them. Other states have different rules on this, but this is the way it's been for 14 and a half years in Oklahoma. But to answer the question, there's not a set time frame. I mean, again, if it's a paternity action, you've already got sole custody anyway. If this is a divorce where you've been married for a while and the dad you're separated and dad hasn't been around. You have sole custody just because he's gone. I mean, you technically do because you've got to make all the decisions and those kind of things, especially if they're not communicating. But, obviously if this is a divorce, you want to file a divorce and then file for sole custody. And then remember, once we file, we have to serve the other side. They have 20 days to respond. If they don't respond in 20 days, then we can file a motion for default, at which point the court could default the individual if they fail to show up or respond, and then she would have sole custody. So there's, it varies based on the scenario and the facts involved in the case.
This would probably be one of these scenarios where I say they're all important to have representation from the court.
Absolutely.
For the court. But this is one I think it's really important because there are many different ways to notify or not notify, and you definitely don't want to be wrong in that.
Right.
And that's where you guys, the folks at Hensley & Associates, can navigate that in the correct manner.
Absolutely. And there's even, and that's, most people don't realize, there's even different laws and rules and regulations in regards to service in other states. So, for example, Missouri is vastly different than we are. I know this because one of my good friends from law school that was my trial team partner is a judge up there now, and he and I talk about this. And they have vastly different requirements for service than we do. I know Texas has different requirements. So point being is that, you want to make sure it's done right so that we can get that default correctly and make sure everything is correct moving forward.
Jeff from Hensley & Associates is in the studio to answer your questions. 833-460-KMOD is the phone number. You can text BMMS and whatever that question is to 82945. This one says, I'm ready to leave my abusive spouse, but I'm terrified that he'll get joint custody of our kids. How much does the abuse factor into custody decisions?
This is a big topic. This is a very big topic amongst family law attorneys nationwide. I've actually been working with a university in Pennsylvania about these issues. They are working on a white paper of sorts that talk about what the different rules and regulations and thoughts are from state to state, and attorneys from different areas and things like that, as far as, should abuse play into it or should it not play into it? And the reason I'm talking about it this way is because, a lot of times the attitude is taken of, well, if he's not abusing the children, or if he's not, mistreating the children, then he should have equal access because there's no problem with the children. It's just you he has a problem with. Okay, that's one thought. The other thought would be, well, he's abusive, period, which means it could flow over into the kids at some point, which means they're in potential danger, which means he shouldn't have equal access. I mean, there's differing, sides on this issue. I have seen judges go both ways. It just depends on who the judge is, what county they're in, are they old school, are they not old school, that kind of thing. And so it's a very big topic. I think it's bigger than even most family law attorneys realize at certain points. Simply because we get caught up in this is the way that judge is going to do it, and, suck it up, this is the way it is. But I think it's a big issue simply because the mother obviously has, in my opinion, very valid concerns. Because if she is being abused in some way, mentally, physically, sexually, whatever it may be, okay, there is always a possibility that that's going to flow into someone else. Especially, let's say the guy hates women and he's got a daughter. I mean, there's a lot of very valid thoughts here, very valid concerns. And so I think it's something that, again, legislators, if you are listening, all right, especially ones that were just elected, you have the power, guys and ladies, to make a difference on this for your constituents. All right, it's important you guys have that control. And I wish you would spend more time talking to us attorneys that do this every day about what we think and what we deal with, instead of following your interest groups. All right. So with that being said, anybody listening, if you have an issue with this and want to support one way or the other, contact your state legislator. All right. Find out what district you're in and contact your state senator or your state representative and talk to them about it. But she has concerns. Please call me. I'd like to find out what county you're in, what potential judges we're in front of, and how it would be handled. It can just be handled in several different ways.
And family law is unique because most of the time it has to be changed by legislation, right? It's not going to move up to the Supreme Court.
Well, I mean, it can be changed by the Supreme Court. I mean, something can go into it and it be a case that it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court or the Court of Civil Appeals. There's always that route, but understand that takes, that can take up to a year or more sometimes, whereas, in the legislature can be done in one session. It's not an easy fix. And of course, obviously, different people have different opinions on this. I'm sure there's different opinions even from the different sexes, male versus female, and everything in between and all that other stuff, okay? But my point of bringing that up is yes, it can be changed by the Supreme Court through case law. Same thing with civil appeals, but those take even more time. And even then, it can be left up to certain interpretations. The Supreme Court may come down one way and say, well, this is remanded back to the trial court to be dealt with on this issue, and then this issue, because there were missing facts that they didn't have. I mean, it's a big, huge process. All of this is a big, huge process. But if you want change, be involved.
So this text that came in, I want you to address their question, or their statement, but also what to do if you find yourself in this situation.
Okay.
It says, I wish police knew the law. They still tell parents that both parents have equal rights, so they won't help and tell you to go to court.
Okay, so I actually can speak to this.
Okay.
Right? My next door neighbor, great man, all right, is somebody who teaches at the academy. And he and I have had this discussion in my living room, or in my kitchen, over dinner, all right? And he and I are working on a program. We've been talking about a program of going in and being able to teach the cadets more about family law, because there is a lot of confusion that does happen. I will have people call me and say, well, the cop said this. Well, that's not the law, okay? I'm sorry. And if you're a policeman listening, I'm not saying you're bad or dumb or impugning what you do. We're very grateful for you guys putting your lives on the line every day for us as ordinary citizens, and I'm grateful for that. I'm merely saying that sometimes there is confusion, and I don't think it's on purpose. I don't think it's malicious. I don't think it's done out of anything other than maybe just not knowing or maybe misunderstanding something. And, we get these calls all the time. Well, the cops told me to do this, or the cops told me to do that, or they said this. And then we have to educate. And again, I don't think it's done maliciously. I don't think it's done on purpose. I think it's just lack of information. And maybe it's lack of information that they've been providing. It's not their fault. And I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. I'm merely saying that we can deal with this. We can correct it, and we can provide that information. So people out there, the citizens of Tulsa County and other counties and whatnot, when you deal with your local policemen, and understand these people who are serving you, who are taking care and protecting you every day, they go through a lot. And I think sometimes things are said just because it's in the heat of the moment or something and they forget or whatever it may be. These people put their lives on the line every day for us and take care of us as citizens and do a good job doing it. I'm just saying there can be that education factor. I've discussed it with somebody who has the ability to make that happen, and I'm hoping that does happen, and I can start helping with that.
But what should you do if you find yourself in a scenario with an officer telling you different than what your attorney's telling you?
So,
because you can't tell the cop no.
Right. That would be disrespectful. If you ever have questions about that, always call your attorney. And if you don't have an attorney that's a family law attorney, give us a call. We're happy to. That's why we offer the free 15 minutes, right? We can answer those questions for you. And understand we've been doing this between me and the two other attorneys that work for me. We have a total of over 60 years of experience, okay? So my point being is that we do this day in and day out. We deal with the judges. We follow up with the laws. We know what they are because we deal with them on a daily basis every single day just on family law issues. So if you ever have a question, call an attorney and ask. Okay, if you're ever confused and say, well, I don't know if that's right or I've heard differently, always call and get the answer from us. We're happy to provide that to you. So please don't hesitate to reach out and ask that question. There's no dumb question other than the one that is not asked.
But the police are there. They're taking your kid to go with the other parent. You can't make them stop.
That. Well, they can understand this. They can only do that with a writ of assistance from the court. There's no time they will ever come out and take your child without a writ of assistance from the court.
But if you find them doing that, if you find yourself in a situation where that's happening,
if you have a concern, always call your attorney.
Alert your attorney at that moment.
They may not be available if it's after dark. Leave the message. They'll get it at some point, and they will try to help you out and get it done. We try to answer people even after hours, but there's only certain things that even I can do in the middle of the night. All right, some things just have to wait till morning. There's nothing I can do about that. But if you ever have questions, always reach out. Always ask. Never just get mad and pissed off and not ask and start bad-mouthing everybody. Call and get the information. Always seek the truth.
I think people find themselves in those scenarios feeling like there should be a solution, especially if they think they know the truth. The solution should happen right then. And that may not play out that way, right?
Well, and especially if you feel like you want to provide the information to the police officer who is just trying to do their job the way that they believe it needs to be done. And the last thing you want to do is end up with an obstruction charge and then handcuffed in the back of a patrol unit. All right? There are ways to handle these issues and be respectful to all involved. Police, other people, other things going on at the time. There are ways to handle it appropriately. Yelling, screaming, threatening, and cussing out the cop is not the way to do it.
Can you just show, like, if you're the custodial parent and you were awarded that by a court?
You can always show them the court order, yes.
Right, so you would have documentation. Is it just a safe bet to just keep that on you?
I think so. I mean, and I know a lot of people that do. And we tell our clients a lot of times to do that as well. I mean, just keep a copy in your purse or in your car or something like that so they have that access.
Take a photo of it and keep it in your phone?
You know, you could. Mm-hmm. The problem you run into that is with, digital people able to go in and edit documents and all that kind of stuff the way they do now. Original good old school paper never fails, as opposed to, especially if it has an embossed stamp on it with the certification from the court clerk, especially because we do that on decrees and things like that. That you'll never go wrong, especially if the cop can feel the embossment on it.
And is this just one piece of paper, or is it
it would be an entire decree or a joint custody or a custody plan or whatever it may be. Those are certified, and so paper can never fail you. Can you do pictures? Absolutely. I just think that you're better off with the paper simply because then you have zero questions if you can very clearly see those, like I said, those certain things on there that only court clerks have access to in the courthouses.
Not just custody agreements, right? POs sometimes
Yeah, absolutely.
can't
Any of
catch
that
up in the
stuff.
system, and so you've got to have the tangible copy on you.
Right, absolutely. And again, it's always smart to have those things if you can have on. POs you're supposed to keep on yourself all the time anyway. Every judge will tell you that. So, yeah, I mean, again, I think if we can all just be better educated, and I think that's why we do this show, is to help educate people. And that's one of the reasons I love doing this show with you guys, is because we get to help people and educate people. I have people all the time that come up and say, hey, I'm so grateful that you do what you guys do and what KMOD does, because you guys help us understand what's going on, and it makes a difference in their lives, and that's what's important.
Last one here. This text says, if an officer takes a child unlawfully, are they protected under qualified immunity, or can I sue them?
I got to be very, very careful here.
Well, I almost didn't ask the question because this needs more information. There's no blanket answer.
Right. There needs more information. If you are going to sue a government entity, we do not do that. Okay, but I can refer you to somebody who does. There's more information needed here before I could give any sort of cogent answer, simply because there's a lot of missing holes. There's a lot of, well, what about this, and what about this, and what about this? That's a very broad question. If you want to call me, whoever this is, or call my office and ask to talk to me or one of my associates, we can answer it better once we have more information. Qualified immunity is an important deal for all people that work for the government, but there are times that can be pierced, but it's very specific reasons. And again, I have somebody I refer people to on these kind of issues because we just don't do it.
Every scenario is uniquely different. That's
Absolutely.
why you need to talk with the folks at Hensley & Associates. And Jeff has given a free 15-minute consultation if you mention KMOD when you call him. 918-398-5692 for Hensley & Associates. 918-398-5692 for Hensley & Associates. Call them up, mention KMOD, get that free consultation over the phone. And if you find yourself maybe in gotten a car accident, or maybe you've gotten a DUI, you guys can help in that area as well, right?
Absolutely. So through our Pawhuska office up there, give Sam Allison a call. It's the Shoemake Law Firm. It's a different name, but it is Hensley. We just left the name. But Sam is doing a great job up there with anything in addition to family law. So if you've got any sort of car wrecks, if you've got contract issues, probate, if you've got needing a will or a trust, if you've got oil and gas issues, if you've wanting to sell some land and need help with that, we can help you with that kind of stuff. There's all sorts of things in addition to family law that Sam can do through our office up there. So please give him a call.
918-398-5692 for Hensley & Associates. Jeff, have a great week.
Hey, you too.
We'll be back.
Tulsa's Morning Show continues next.
Good morning. It's the Big Mad Morning Show. Toll free 833-460-KMOD. Couple interesting music stories out there. Dave Navarro said there's no chance that Jane's Addiction will ever play together again.
Oh, not after the little thing last year or whatever.
Yeah, I just don't. I just don't think there's a reason to. I can see you being like, 60 years old, going, "Why am I doing this?"
Right. I didn't think that they were ever going to get back together anyway. I thought they were pretty well done, but I guess now they are.
I mean, I would say never with bands.
True that.
There's times you think they are done, and then you're like, "Oh, really? They're going to play again."
Exactly.
Right.
Lincoln Park's going to play together, huh? Okay. Drowning Pool's going to keep going, huh? Okay. Right? Like,
Right. Just get a new person.
yeah,
Whatever,
I think that you never say never when it comes to a band calling it quits.
Except for Zeppelin.
Yeah. Right. But even then,
Right. Anything's possible.
I saw a video pop up, and it was Hetfield, and he's on stage from a show this weekend, and he is saying goodnight to the crowd. And the crowd's chanting because they're deliberately not playing Inner Sandman, and they're like, "Good night. Good night." Like
I said good night.
they're playing. Yes, that's what he's doing. Playing with the crowd. And he's 62, I think 63.
So, yeah, something like that, yeah.
And he's like, "Good night." And he's like, "I said good night. Have a good night." And they're like, "One more," like all these things. And he just goes, ding, 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 ding. And I mean, it gives you chills watching. You're like, I don't think, and maybe it's because the Stones have done it for so long, I don't think Metallica's getting enough credit for being old and still destroying.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Destroying.
61 is Hetfield,
Okay.
so still
Yeah, I
close.
don't want to give him more than he should get.
Yeah, for real.
But just killing
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And not just going through the motions. Killing it. They could quit today
Yeah.
and be like, they killed it, man.
Yeah.
I've seen him 3 times, I think. And I'm like, I need to see him again.
Yeah, for sure. Just the videos that I see online, the concert look. I just seen them the one time when they came to the BOK Center, but I see all these other videos. I was like, that looks awesome.
Yes.
Always a great show.
And when you see, to me, like, if I never see Tool again, I'm like, okay. I've seen him like 8 times.
Right.
I'm good.
Right.
Metallica, I've seen 2 or 3, 4 times. I don't remember. And I'm like, I got to see him again before they can.
Right.
The other music news that's out there, Lindsay alluded to it earlier, is Josh Freese put out a thing saying he got fired from the Foo Fighters.
All right.
And some people are reading into that, and I don't know if he's handling it well. I don't know if he should handle it well. Maybe he shouldn't. He said he got no explanation, and that he had been the drummer since Taylor passed away, so like 2 years. And for those who don't know, Josh is a stud drummer.
Yeah.
Original Perfect Circle member, countless other bands he's been in. Definitely worthy of being the drummer.
Devo. You forget? Don't.
Sure.
Forget about his time with Devo now.
But him alluding, and then people are apparently like dogging on Dave Grohl, like starting to dog on him because he fired this guy and the way he's just kind of been handling things. And I kind of chalk it up to, you're not an original member.
Right.
It could be for a number of reasons. Also, the guy that's in charge of the band, it's his band, is a drummer.
Right.
So he's probably got and you're replacing his boy.
Right. Well, J-Rod, our buddy J-Rod, get qualified with him later on throughout the day. He hit me up earlier saying that Shane Hawkins, the boy, is taking over now. Is taking the drummer spot.
Yeah, you can't hate on that.
No, you can't hate on that at all. And J-Rod's like, he's 18 or whatever. He's still young, but listen, and as I told him, if he's got it, let him do it. Especially following in his dad's footsteps. Being the drummer of his dad's band.
Right.
So I say go for it.
Now, he did turn 18 last August.
Okay. So he'd be coming up 19 next year or whatever.
And so it's not like he just had his birthday and they're like, see you.
Yeah. Right. So.
But to me, it feels like a bunch of tea at a time when like, and I can't imagine, and maybe they did. Maybe they're like, hey, Josh, we're going to have Shane do it. You know, it's Taylor's son. It just feels the right move.
Right.
Right.
And he's like, no way, man. I'm Josh Freese.
Okay.
Right? And they're like,
doesn't-
okay, well, then you're fired.
Yeah. It doesn't feel, though, that he would be like that.
I don't
in
know.
his little, I know, but on his Instagram page, he just said that they told him that they were going to go in a different direction with their drummer. No other reason was given. And he says, I'm not angry. I'm just a bit shocked and disappointed.
But that's my point, right? That doesn't sound like why would they not tell him that's the reason?
Yeah, that's true.
And if you did know and you're saying that also isn't a good look.
Yeah.
Because if that is the reason that Shane Hawkins is going to replace his dad in the band, you kind of go, okay.
It's a feel-good moment then
Yeah.
at that point.
I mean, it isn't, the manager scoring a touchdown type of thing. He is
Right.
qualified.
True.
He stepped in on some things, and you've seen him go, wow. I will say this, though. I don't care who your dad is. When you step behind a kit at 18 on a major rock act,
Right.
you're kind of sitting at the big boy table. Not everybody can handle that.
Right. And maybe that was the problem essentially in the beginning, was that he felt like, oh, I'm too young. I can't take over. Because I feel like there was talk of him taking over back then because he was so good, and the Foo Fighters thought he was good enough to take over.
Right.
But maybe Shane felt for himself, no, I'm not ready. I'm still grieving. I still have to figure my life out at 18, whatever. Maybe he then went to Dave Grohl and said, you know what? I'm ready.
I think you want to do that at 18.
Yeah, right.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You wouldn't go, I don't know.
A major rock band asked you to play with them at 18. Yeah.
Your dad's.
Your dad's
Yeah.
band. Yeah. You say yes and thank you.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'll just be the tech.
Right.
Yeah. Wild drama, man. So fun. I saw that. I got an alert on my phone. I'm like, what? Why? It feels a little weird to make it public, for Josh Freese to make it so public.
Well, he's just got to let everybody know he's hurting.
Well, or that he's available.
He doesn't need to do that.
No.
In that world, he doesn't have to go on Instagram to tell everybody he's available. Hell, he got fired 2 days later. He's playing with a Perfect Circle during the Se Santa
Right.
tour.
Exactly.
So he don't need to put out a, hey, I'm available. And by the way, it feels a little douchey to go, hey, ladies, guess who's single?
Right.
Who wants to party?
Right.
You're like, okay, calm it down now. He is a stud drummer, though.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back.
Tulsa's Morning Show.
Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show. Make sure you're listening for that cue to get qualified for CMall 2025. Noah Reddy of Manford got qualified. When you heard the cue, Chris Armstrong got qualified. And it looks like Tim is in, so for Mel. So be listening for that cue. 10:22 after Godsmack and Bad Religion get qualified for CMall 2025. Brought to you by Yingling Flights. Find out what everybody learned. We'll start with Lindsay. Lindsay, what'd you learn today?
I learned that Corbin's little piggy actually did go to the market, and gimping is probably easy compared to snail milking.
Gimpy, what'd you learn today?
I learned that next time your lady says, wow, that was really good. Where'd you learn that? Tell her, milking snails. And I also learned to always wear your shoes so you don't stub your toe like Corbin did.
Didn't stub my toe. Toenail pulled, torn off. It wasn't a... Have you ever been bitten by a shark? I learned car wreck, try train wreck. And I also learned Milking Snails is a great band name. It's Corbin saying, make sure that dishwasher's loaded right.
It's Lindsay. Stop tracking my cycle.
This is Gimpy, and I'm sorry.
Far too kind.